And well, let's welcome all our experts today on the show to discuss all the cracker stocks. First up, of course, we have Kunal Bothra in the studio with us. Alongside, today we also have JK Tyre, Head of Derivatives and Quant Research, Vice President ICICI Securities with us in the studios. And on the phone line is joining us Ashish Kayal, Founder and CEO, Wave Strategy Advisors. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us today and helping us with your top picks. Jay, let's start with you first. Before we discuss your picks, a quick question on the markets. How do you think what is your outlook? Do you think this momentum is going to continue for the rest of the week as well and the months to come in 2025? Where do you see the markets headed? Do you think this festive fervor that we are seeing in the markets is going to continue?
Hi, good afternoon to you, Kanishka and Shrishti. I mean, it's been long we have met, right? But then, good time to meet. First of all, let me take this opportunity to wish you both a very happy Diwali, as well as Kunal. It's been long meeting you, Kunal, as well, and all the viewers of ET Now as well. I mean, wish you all a very happy Diwali and a prosperous New Year in advance from my side, as well as on behalf of ICICI Securities.
Yeah. Same to you, Jay, and thank you so much. So good to have you on the show.
Thank you.
But what's the outlook on the markets?
Sure, Srishti. See, markets overall, I think that definitely is in the upward trajectory right now, and I think it's heading towards 26,000. That is what our take is in the short term. Now, recently, Srishti, we had come out with a report, in ICICI Securities, and it was an outlook from 1 to 3 months or 6 months perspective. You can say for the second half of this financial year. Basically, what we tried to check within the Nifty through our in-house quant model is that out of 50 stocks, what we have noticed is that 19 stocks is where we have seen a good long build-up, and that contributes to almost 41% weightage in the index, right? There are 36% of the stocks, of the weight 36%, which are looking sideways to positive, whereas there are only 23% of the stocks or weightage-wise which looks negative. So when you combine all of this, Nifty 50 stocks, then almost 76% of the stocks look sideways to positive, right? And if I have to calculate the index levels as per that, then it comes to around 26,500 on the upside. That would be the short to medium term outlook on the Nifty going forward. And on the flip side, if at all there is a downside risk to all of these stocks, so what would be the lower levels? And when I see that combining with all the weightages of the index, then 24,000 comes out at a very crucial support. So I think that in the short term, what we have seen in this calendar, in this financial year so far, is that 21,800, thereafter, 24,000, 24,400, 600, the base is shifting higher. I think ultimate base is 24,000 for this remaining part of the financial year. That those levels should hold. And based on these quantitative analysis, we think that Nifty is heading towards 26,000 to 26,500 levels.
All right, so those are the levels to track as far as Nifty is concerned. I believe you said that 26,000 is what you're tracking in the short term, Jay. But well, let's get started and discuss all the cracker stocks, the top picks that all of you have picked out for us. Kunal, let's start with you. Which is your first short term bet today?
So the first short term bet which I'm eyeing is Shriram Finance, a stock which has high potential and a sector which we've seen has been doing exceptionally well, the financial services sector. I think from that pack, Shriram Finance is one of the few stocks which is due for a major breakout on the upside. The risk reward is also very attractive. The stock is trading with a slight negative bias today that I believe could probably play to the advantage for a short-term trader. So look out for targets in the range of 700 and stop us at 645.
All right, so that's the short-term bet coming in from Kunal. But Ashish, hi, afternoon and festive greetings to you and your team. Firstly, let's understand what's your short-term bet is looking like.
Hi, afternoon to you and wishing you, everyone, a very, very proud, festivities and prosperous New Year that is about to come. And glad to see you, Jai. We don't meet personally, but we are meeting here. Looking at the markets, I think the markets, I concur with Jai's view. We are headed towards 26,000, and I think we are headed towards lifetime high levels, which is going to be very soon. 26,400 is where Nifty should be headed. And very interestingly, one thing is there is 50% tariff still levied on India. That's not yet changed. And we have been bucking all the negative news, pessimism, and we have been inching higher every single day. So given that there is a strong relative performance and there is still a lot of shorts built up by FIs and they have not yet started covering. So looking at the entire picture, and looks like we are starting the third wave as per Elliott wave on the upside. So the view is bullish. Over very near term, we can expect the movement on the upside towards 25,700 levels. And on the downside, the support is going to be 25,300. Use any dips as a buying opportunity, but eventually the lifetime highs are on the cards.
All right, so that's the view coming in. But moving on, Jay, let me come to you. Which are your safe sparkler bets? I believe L&T is the one you've picked out for us.
Absolutely, Kanishka. I think that L&T, first of all, we look at it technically, then definitely it has provided a very nice breakout from a long consolidation. But this is one of the stock, I would say that that happens to be within those 19 stocks which are looking really positive in the index within Nifty 50, which have seen long build up, right? So that is one stock which we think in the short term looks relatively quite safe. It's within the large cap, of course. So downside risk is limited. 3,700 is where I would suggest a stop loss on the downside, and on the upside we are targeting around 4,200 going forward. I mean, on the monthly charts too, when I look at the 3 sigma or 3.5 sigma, then the upper band comes to around 4,200 levels. So these are technicals and derivative, reasoning or rationale behind it. I would also add that going forward, the kind of GST cut that has happened, or probably the spending that is likely to happen, the interest rates are coming down. I think there is a lot more capex or private capex also going to come along with the government capex. We're going to have budget as well going forward in Feb. So just 2-3 months down the line, and I think all of these cap good sectors are likely, overall cap good sector is likely to do well, and within which I think L&T seems to be a very safe bet.
All right, so that's the bet coming in on L&T and the rationale behind it. But we did understand the short-term bets from our experts, but let's shift focus to the medium-term bets and the counters that they are tracking. And Kunal, let me come to you. Help us understand which is the stock you are tracking.
So I'll go with a bullish call on Nykaa. If it's a Nykaa, I think that's a stock which I believe is confirmed a very strong breakout, even though it's way off from the lifetime highs in 2022-23 odd. But I think at current levels of 250, 260 thereabouts, it looks extremely charged up. The momentum on its side, the last 3 months, the stock has shown breakouts of multiple degrees, volumes, indicators, etc. So I would believe that the stock should be good for at least another 10% on the upside with the medium term. 300-ish is where I would place the targets. Stop us at 244.
All right, so that's Kunal's view. Nykaa is his pick. But moving on, Ashish, let me come to you. Tell us which is your next pick.
See, Godrej Properties is something that should outperform. We can clearly see there is an outperformance coming in over the past 1 week in real estate stocks, and I think there is a sector rotation. We have seen financials outperforming, now banking, PSU banks, and that should tickle into also the real estate stocks. So Godrej Properties can be a good bet on the upside. We can expect the target of around 2,800 eventually from a little positional perspective, medium to long-term perspective, and on the downside, the stop loss can be maintained at 1980 levels.
All right, so that's the medium-term bet coming in from Ashish. Let's watch out for that. But Jay, what about you? Which is the stock that you are tracking?
Well, within the high risk in the short to medium term, I would say I would go for Tata Motors. Shrishti, see, overall auto sectors have, we all know the reason behind it, why it has gone up because of the GST cut as well as the income tax benefit which people are getting. And we are seeing the good auto sales numbers as well, may it be two-wheelers or four-wheelers, right? Now, recent numbers within the September series, what we saw is that Tata Motors surprisingly, came second. Their numbers actually were well ahead of the M&M as well. So that's the reason, one of the reasons. Second is why Tata Motors, because we have seen good shorts there. So overall sector is doing good. That is one of the sector wherein we have seen good long build up. It's in the, directionally it's in an uptrend, right? But within that, Tata Motors and Bajaj Auto from the, four-wheelers and two-wheelers space, these are the two stocks mainly wherein we have seen good short build up. And if the overall sector is bullish, then I think there can be a good short covering which we can see going forward. So hence Tata Motors one can buy with a stop loss of 350 targeting 535. I think that's a good high risk reward bet out here, and we have seen the demerger process getting over as well. So I think most of the selling which had to happen has happened.
All right. So some short covering post the merger is likely. That's the view coming in for Tata Motors. But Kunal, let me come to you. You've given us your short-term and medium-term bets. What about long-term bets? Which is the pick that you've made out for us here?
So I'll go with the private sector banking name, and I think you have to look at formidable private sector banking stocks. Kotak Bank is something which comes back on the radar. I think it's an exceptional chart. We've seen the stock going into a massive correction, I think around a few months back, where the stock had fallen, sub the 2000 levels also. But the way the stock has managed to make a comeback above its long-term averages, completing a major gap on the daily as well as on the weekly charts, I think indicates that we are looking at a potential, bigger turnaround for the stock in the medium to long term. So would be bullish on Kotak Bank from the longer term play, and would look out for 2,400 as a target. Stop us at 2,100.
All right, so that's the bet coming in from Kunal. Kotak Mahindra Bank looking good for the long-term play. But Jay, any particular banking name that is looking good to you, good for a long term?
Absolutely, Shrishti. In fact, SBI, State Bank really looks positive. In fact, we have seen good long build-up out there. See, the difference between the private sector banks and PSU banks, what I see right now, Shrishti, is that a few of the private sector banks recently have underperformed the PSUs. Whereas, in the previous two occasions, we had seen the private sector banks doing good as far as, they were up by almost 15 to 20%, as compared to the PSU banking stocks. But now I think, PSU stocks are looking better, within which SBI is one stock which has given a good breakout from a long consolidation, good long build-up as well. And recently we have seen the mutual fund numbers coming out as well, and we know that how much of the allocation has gone to those PSU banks. So I'm quite bullish on SBI. Structurally, that is technically, it looks positive. Good long additions, target of 1100 on the upside on SBI. I think 770 should act as a very crucial support going forward, so that would be the stop loss.
All right, so very interesting take coming in. PSUs over, private banks, and SBI is your preferred pick over there. So that's the view coming in. But Ashish, let me come to you now. Which are your value bomb picks today? I believe you've picked out some auto counters.
Yes, because if you look at the first stock is going to be Hero Motocorp. We can clearly see that there is a lot of buzz around the two-wheeler segment any which ways, and the auto has picked up big time. And Hero Motocorp has been outperforming for quite some time, and I think there is a lot more potential to rally from here on as well. So one can look forward to go long on Hero Motocorp, aiming for the target of 8,500. Stop loss can be around 4,470 levels. The next stock on the buy side is going to be JK Tyre. We can clearly see JK Tyre has been consolidating. It has formed a very classic inverted head and shoulder pattern, should be giving a breakout. The weekly charts looks very, very promising. And if the two-wheelers and the four-wheelers are going to outperform, I think auto ancillary should also start catching up. So the relative outperformance can come from the auto ancillary, and JK Tyre looks to be well placed. Target can be 600, and stop loss can be around 310. The stock can start its third wave on the upside, which can be a massive run from here on.
All right, so that's the take coming in on JK Tyre. We did understand the short, medium and long-term bets from our experts. But moving